So let's start now. So far we have following endpoints that basically fetch the data. Uh, these are the get endpoints. So what we want to do, we want to persist the data, and for this we have to write two endpoints. First is called post because we want to create a task. Second is for put because we want an update in task. uh, we can have these two endpoints like patch and put. One is for partial update and second is for put is for complete update, but we want to remain simple. We want to have just uh, put that does both the things, either complete update or partial update. So for doing this thing, let's uh, start from the let's start from the service layer, and then we will approach the controller layer. But the one thing that we want to actually change the task detail is we want to introduce the uh, ID here. And the reason that we want to introduce the ID here, because it is something that actually differentiates the task. Otherwise, how we will get to know that whether the task you have sent is either updated or need to be updated or need to be created. So with these things, I'm just writing ID here. So once I write, it is going to say me that I just need to update utils class. Okay, utils, because utils right now it has all. Uh, so this thing is clear. So let's come to the task service. Okay. So how I am going to write these two approaches. Update and create. So we will write another method that is called persist. Okay, persist. Persist task. This should be the method. What it should do, it should not do anything. It should not return anything. Okay, and what it should expect, it should expect task dtu entity dtu. So let's just call dtu to be remain on the same side. And so whenever it expect a dtu, it should check that whether it is already created or not. And for these things we are going to write another function that is called uh, public task. Means why we want to write a task is we are basically in this we are checking it that whether does task dtu is created or not. Okay, so let's just task repository and find by id, and we are just going to the attitude dot get id to it, and either it is going to get me an object or either it is going to return a null, because there are two possibilities: either it will exist or it will not exist. Okay, but here is one is the situation: what if the id that I provided is null? So for this I think let's just write this another check dtu dot get id. What if it is null? Then it is null, then we don't need to do anything, we just need to return null. Okay, so just need to return null and just do this thing. Okay, so from here persist task, it will pass the d2, and the d2 has received one, so it will receive an entity that either could be null or have the values. So what we need to do is, in this case, we need to, if entity is equal to null, then it means that we need to create task. Although this method does not exist, we will write it just now. And if we want to create a task, we need to provide the dtu. Else, it means else case will always trigger whenever we have a DTO, whenever we have an entity received or the object already exists. So what we want to do, we want to provide the entity and we will provide the DTO both, because it is going to copy the values from that one. Okay. So this is simple written, and let's just copy this method to create task. And so situation is that we have to convert data to the entity, so let's just use this method utils, and from the utils we can actually convert to task entity. And what it is expecting data. So this way our task will be very much easy. I mean, we don't provide the ID when we are when we want to create a, and so let's just write these two things, title, status, and here we are saying that we will return the entity. So this way, I means we have gotten the TTO, we fetch the values title and status, and then we return it. So let's come to this thing here, create task. So utils dot convert to task entity, and we just provide the TTO, and task repository dot save, and let's just write entity. So this way it will be done easily. Okay. Because we're not returning anything, so we just need to write void and copy it, and let's paste it, update task, and it should receive the entity and then receive the we cannot use this thing convert to task entity. The reason is same, because uh, because it expects one when we have these two. So let's just write entity dot set status and data dot get status and entity dot set title, and let's call data dot get title. Okay, so this way it will be done. And entity is getting update task is this, then why it is actually returning an error? Because it is returning an error, find by status persist task find by ID. It should be find by ID. Okay, it should be find by ID. The second thing is need to data means find by ID. So this is our own method, so that's why it was showing an error. So this is what we have done so far. Let's just run it and check how does it run. So if it is running fine, so what we can do right now, we can write the controller endpoints, the endpoints that we actually needed, because we have written down the behind the scene functionality. So first is called create task, and the second is called update task. By the way, both will do persist task, because persist task will further do the required work. And we want to have a request, I mean request body for it. So most of the things will remain the same, and that's this would be a task DTO because user is aware of the DTO, is not aware of the entity. So that's why it's a DTO. And the next thing we need to do is we just need to write this thing down, and we just need to remove this thing. It should be post mapping, okay, and it should not return anything. Expected behavior is this, and it should not return anything as this, and it should be what we say, it should be put mapping, and not return anything, so let's just remove it. Not return anything, so let's just remove it, okay. And so here we can actually run it right now and see and test it from the postman. So this has ran fine. Let's test it. So let's just try to test. This was the endpoint. So far we have these two tasks. So if you want to have another task, then we need to write it. So I just want to provide id is equal to 0. 0 means it should be anything. It should not be null. Let's just say it's a null, okay, to be on the safe side. And title, because we want to create it, that is called delete application, okay. And let's just have a title, and let's just have a status. Status should be false. This should be false. Status should be why it is returning colon expected. Okay, let's try to express it colon, because this is a post, so let's just hit. We will not expect any response because it is a null. The response is 200, okay. That means that the task will be added. Yes, the task is added. So if we want this task to be updated, so we just need to use the endpoint that is called put, and let's just try to pass 3, and let's just say that it is right now true, and let's just hit it, and let's just try to check it again that whether it has been updated. Yes, it has been updated, so that's what we expected.